No, this is not your typical superhero movie at all. We're dealing with three young people, Dave, Mindy, and Chris, who are trying to live their lives as superheroes, but do it in the real world. And so you've got Dave, who's kick-ass, and things never really work out exactly the way he wants them to. He tries to stop crime in progress and usually gets his ass kicked. You've got Mindy, who's actually been trained to be a superhero her whole life, but just wants to be a normal girl. And then you've got Chris, who's decided he's going to be the world's first supervillain and has decided his name will be the Motherfucker. I think it's about the balance. You know, the first film really struck this balance of humor, action, and honest emotion. So I think it was incumbent upon us making the sequel to maintain that balance, but just turn the volume up on all three of those things in equal amount. I think that's why the sequel took a little while to get made. I think everyone sort of was worried, like, how do we make a sequel to this movie? You know, in the comic book, Hit Girl's Still 11, everyone loved that, you know, Chloe was this little girl in the first film and she's growing up. And so there was this feeling of like, well, what are we going to do about this? And I came in and said, let's own it. Let's make that part of the movie. Let's tell the story of Hit Girl growing up and paint this picture of a woman, a young woman, in sort of crisis, in a critical moment where she needs to figure out what kind of person she wants to be. And I think everyone will be able to relate to that. And it's just sort of a natural evolution for the character. It doesn't go well when Mindy tries to be a normal girl because she is special and it is her destiny to actually be a superhero in the real world. And when she tries to just be a normal person, she finds that it actually might be easier taking down cartel kingpins than it is for her to take on mean girls. I mean, here's the thing about Jim Carrey. We love his movies because you never know what he's going to do or say, and I'm here to tell you in real life, you never know what Jim Carrey is going to do or say. So it made me feel surprised initially because he read the script. He saw the first movie. I wrote the script, didn't really do anything in the movie that we didn't put on the page. But ultimately, I think he's fantastic in the film. I think his performance speaks for itself. And I think people should see the movie and judge for themselves. I would be very careful about what you learn from Kick-Ass because I think one of the major themes is that life is not a movie and violence has consequences. So I think one thing you can learn from the film is that it's important to ask yourself questions like, what kind of person do I want to be? And I think that's what Dave, Mindy, and Chris, they're all asking themselves that same question in our movie. They each have different answers, but ultimately they don't arrive at their own conclusions till they come back together. So I hope people take from this movie that you need to be honest with yourself about the kind of person you want to be in life. Well, Mark is writing Kick-Ass 3 right now, the comic book. Okay. So there will be a comic book Kick-Ass 3. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. I was a fan of the first film before I knew anyone involved with it, before I knew I'd be making the sequel. And just as a fan, I'm dying to see what happens next.